Hi, I'm James, the box office artist, and welcome back to my channel. And we are going to do something fun today. A lot of artists you see on YouTube, they like to do like redrawing their old art. Okay, now I'll admit I don't have a lot of my old childhood art. I do have some from the past, and maybe I will redo those one of these days. But I thought I'd take on a very interesting challenge. If you go back, I put up a video about, I think it was last year. It was one of my throwback episodes where I talked about how when I was drawing Wonder Woman for DC Comics didn't like the way I drew Superman that much. For some reason, I just couldn't get his iconic look, to the point where they kept asking me to change his face, change his face, change his face, change his face, to the point where when the actual issue came out, they got a different artist to go back and change the faces of my Superman. And you know, of course, as a artist, that was hard for me to take, but I totally understood where they were coming from. So I thought today, why don't I take on that challenge of drawing Superman. So today, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be drawing Superman. We will get going on that. I'm going to start off with my trusty red pencil here. This is an Color Pilot Eno lead. A lot of you have seen me start off with this. Again, the only reason I'm using red is so you guys could see it a little bit better. So I'm going to be doing that today. So I want a Superman that kind of fills the page here. But again, the biggest thing will be the actual face, his face. So I'm going to go ahead and start roughing him out very quickly here. Pose. I have an idea of what I want in mind for the pose. So with all my drawings, I always start off with a skeleton. Start off with a skeleton. We call this gesture drawing. Gesture drawing. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to find the lines of action here. Lines of action with the spine. Okay? And then, like most Supermen, I like to, you know, have his chest up a little bit. So that's why I have a curved line like this. And what these are here, these are shoulder joints. These are shoulder joints, and then this would kind of be like his collarbone here. Okay, so what I'm looking for is just the main joints. Just the main joints. And if you see my video that I did on Jazz's channel where I talk about how, you know, how I go about figure drawing, okay, I always start off this way, kind of like stick figure style. Stick figures. Nothing wrong with stick figures. A lot of people, whenever I go to conventions, the first thing they say to me is, oh, I could draw really good stick figures. Well, that's the start to making a really good drawing, is if you know how to draw stick figures, okay? So, what I need to do is I'm figuring out the shoulders, and I'm also figuring out the hip bones, okay? The pelvis here. And usually, I want these to kind of be in perspective. So the human body can also go into perspective here. But I also want the hip up a little bit here. So, want that up. I'm going to have the leg come out here like this. And then the other leg come straight down here. So, I know in the camera it's being cut off a little bit. The camera's being cut off a little bit, but... And I'm going to have the leg come down like so here. Maybe I will turn the camera down just a tad, so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay, and then I'm gonna have the head here. Now, I don't know if I want the head to go like this or if I want it to go more curved. But what I do want is for this hand to be coming towards us a little bit. Okay? So just like that. And that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'm just joking, guys. Okay, so we got to the stage here. Okay, so pretty much, it's very much like a standard type pose for Superman. So I'm going to go ahead and start blocking him out. We'll call this the blockout stage. I'm spending a lot of time on this because this is the important part here. It's not the rendering, okay? A lot of people think it's the actual inking and the rendering and the shadow and all that stuff, or the like my cross hatching and all that. No, like all of that doesn't matter if this isn't right, okay? And that's with all of your drawings. It doesn't matter how many lines I put in something. It doesn't matter if my drawing's no good. You know, you know what I mean? If the anatomy is off, if all of the anatomy is off, doesn't matter how many lines you got, doesn't matter how much black you put in, it won't feel like a good drawing. So for the most part, this is as far as I'm going to go with the actual layout. Now I'm going to go in and add some details with the red pencil. I will actually go ahead and speed this up. Okay, and then after that, once I sped up, then I'll come back and I'll talk about all the details that I did. Okay, so hold on, I am going to do that right now. So I'm done roughing out all the details. Now I went pretty detailed with the actual layout here. This is actually more than I really do, mainly because Superman, again, is a character that I have trouble drawing for the most part. So the actual body itself, you know, nothing too original, I would say. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who draw Superman like this. Again, people are saying Superman dabbing. There it is. But there you go. You know, I want to make sure I got the S in there and where all the main muscles are. So we have our chest here, rib cage, abdominal, pelvic region, you know, hips and stuff. So sometimes I would even take a look back at this. Sometimes I would even take this and look at it in the mirror just to make sure all the proportions are right. Since I don't want to take it out of the page, I'm just going to guess that it's right for now. It might not be, but I will guess that it is. So I'm actually going to go straight into ink. I'm going to go ahead and ink everything with a micron, a 0.1 micron, probably starting with the face and then working my way down before I use the Sharpie to actually add some shadows to everything and kind of try to tie everything together. So I'm gonna do that right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and ink this, and once I'm done with the first pass, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna talk about it. So let's do that right now. Okay, so with the 0.1 micron, I went over and just laid out all the basic details here. So where the chest is going to be, pretty much some of the musculature in his arms, where the muscles going in his legs, his feet, his cape. Okay, so now usually at this point, this is where I start adding the heavy shadows. Okay, so this is what I start to do. Pretty much, I call this part, and many have heard me say this before, penciling with the ink pen, where it's like I lay down all the major lines first, and then I'm going to go ahead with the Sharpie and lay down all of the major shadows in this particular piece. And there's going to be a lot of shadow in here, but not too much shadow. Not too much shadow, because for the most part, this is going to be daytime. It is what it is. That's the case. So I'm going to go ahead with the Sharpie. So here I'm going to go ahead with the regular, not that Sharpie, that's a gray Sharpie. That's to sign the artwork. Breaking out a lot of gray Sharpies here. But let me get a regular Sharpie here. Just regular Sharpie here, regular Sharpie. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding shadows with, you see how I drew this arrow here, with knowing that the light source is going this particular way. So knowing that the light source is coming this way, what's going to be affected by shadow? Well, under this arm is going to be affected by shadow. Behind this chest, that's going to be affected by shadow. Maybe above, underneath his rib cage here, that will be in shadow. Maybe this part of the leg will be in shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding in the shadows. Okay, so I'm going to speed this up, and then I will explain what I did after that. Okay, so let's do that right now. Okay, so I went in and I added in all where I thought all the shadows are going to be. Now, I added a lot more dark than I thought I was going to, but I just went with it. The light's going this way, and so I'm just going to add all of it here. So, yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and start doing my cross-hatching. Again, guys, all the shadow that I put here, all of this cross-hatching I'm going to add means nothing if your underdrawing isn't good. Okay, so if your actual drawing isn't good, doesn't matter how many lines you put. The drawing's still good. You know what I mean? So, you know, make sure that you understand your anatomy, make sure you understand how to pose, make sure you understand your perspective, and then everything else will come into place. Like all of this stuff I'm doing right now, it's all under style. Now, for some people, they could even just leave it like this, and they say they're done already, you know, for some people. For me, as most of you know, I probably won't be done like this. I'm going to start adding all my cross-hatching and all that stuff in, so which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to use my thicker pens for this, so I got a 3 and a 5. Some things I will go back with the 1, but for the most part, I'm probably going to use the 3 and the 5 for all of my cross-hatching. Okay, so let's get to it right now. All right, so I'm going to speed that up, and I'm going to start cross-hatching. Let's do it. So there you have it. That is me drawing Superman. Not bad, not bad. So as you can tell, I added a lot of cross-hatching here. I also added some shadow in his face. Originally, I was just gonna add a little bit of shadow under his nose, but then I didn't like how it looked, so I needed to add a little bit more darkness to his face. So this feels very, very David Finch, Jason Fabok style of rendering. But as you can tell here, I added a lot of cross-hatching here, and what that is, it's light coming here and then wrapping around the particular surfaces. So I tried to keep that consistent as I could, as well as blacking out inside the particular cape here. So that is it. That is the Superman here like this. So fun thing I'm going to be doing after this, but we'll be doing it in the next video. I'm actually going to go ahead and show you how I would go ahead and do a background for this particular piece. So stay tuned for that, but in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please continue to follow me on all social media, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, @BoxOfficeArtist. facebook.com/theboxofficeartist, twitch.tv/boxofficeartist. My name is James. I'm the Box Office Artist. Thank you so much for watching. Keep drawing, and I'm here to say, keep drawing. I'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.